I am your host, Debbie, here to help you get in the know about Waco.
This week, I have a special guest on the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Nathan Embry. I'm an agent with Kelly Realtors here in town.
Yeah, and what brought you to Waco?
In 2008, I moved to Waco from Austin. I graduated college and was just kind of hanging out in Austin. I had a little bank job, paying the bills, and everything was fine. But I had a really good opportunity to move to Waco. I was a single man and looking for adventure, and I didn't.
Looking for love?
I actually had a partner at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and she ended up coming with me, and we're married to this day.
Aww.
But so, yeah, we came to Waco. I wanted to see what was up here. Didn't care for Austin that much, believe it or not. Most people.
I was going to say, now it's vice versa.
It's vice versa a lot of times. But no, Waco does have a lot to offer, and I'm happy to be here. And so I came here in 2008, and I got plugged in, and I did a lot of cool things, and I planted some roots, and wouldn't change it for anything. And I don't want to leave. And we've actually had the opportunity to leave to go to the big towns, and we don't want to. We've got a lot of friends here, good network, good business opportunities here, and we love it.
Yeah, so I know you said you're a realtor, so you do commercial business, is that correct?
I do. Focus on commercial. I've got a little residential company kind of on the side that I'm just now getting off the ground, and that's actually, I think, breaking news. I don't think anyone really knows that.
You heard
yet.
it here first.
That's literally true. But I've focused on commercial for the last 5 years.
Wow, and how did you get started doing this?
You know how I just said that moved to Waco and kind of got plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to the Chamber of Commerce and going to all those meetings. In Waco, one of the draws that I really liked about living in Waco is it's easy to get plugged in. It's easy to meet people, to know who's doing what and who you need to talk to get things done. And I'm one of those guys. I want to do that kind of stuff. I want to know what's going on and be a part of growth and development and making this place better. So I was going to the chamber meetings, and then I started a neighborhood association. So for the city of Waco has neighborhood associations that report to the city, who kind of disseminate information out to the neighborhoods and put on events and get to know your neighbors and all that kind of fun stuff. So I was doing that. I started the neighborhood association, and I was having meetings out at our neighborhood church and with a bunch of people, and I was leading these things. I was the president. I started the neighborhood association, so they made me the president. And an agent here in town that's been doing it for a while came up to me afterwards at one of the meetings and said, have you ever thought about doing real estate? And at the time I hadn't, at least not professionally. And that's really where it started. And so this gentleman started working on me after that meeting and a couple more meetings. And then he took me to dinner and said, you should do this. You might be pretty good at it. And so I made the leap professionally. Now on the side, my previous job, why I moved here in 2008, it allowed me to go do some real estate on the side. So it allowed me to go buy some properties. I had the free time to go buy some properties down there by Baylor, watching TV shows and getting my hands dirty and cleaning up properties.
HGTV?
It might have been, yeah. But that's how I learned real estate before that guy approached me. Just doing it. Not a clue on what I was doing. Just getting out there, signing pieces of paper and figuring it out. I did that for a few years, and I bought a duplex and then a couple more, and I ended up owning an apartment complex, and it worked really well. And I said, there's something to this, and I enjoyed that process. And so about that time, that guy approached me after that meeting and said, you should do this for a living. And I said, you know what, maybe I should.
Yeah, and I know you've seen so much growth here since 2008, especially in this market, in this field. What have you seen specifically change over these last 5 years and even since 2008?
Traffic.
Oh, well, yes, I-35, of course. But what else?
No, that's a joke. Oh, well, it's true.
I mean, it's also true,
it's true.
Yes.
But no, there's a lot of folks moving. I've seen a lot. So I feel like when I moved here in 2008, it was a smaller town and much easier to know. And it's been, 12 years now since then. So things have changed. And so there's a lot more businesses here. Yeah. And there's a lot of things going on with the chamber, and the Amazon has come in, and all the spin-off out that direction with 35 and 84 is a developing area. So it's just fun to see. As a real estate agent, I'm driving up and down the road with my head on a swivel, like looking around of what land is there, what buildings, who's doing what.
Thanks Thank you.
and that's constantly changing. So it's just little things I pick up on just because I'm trained to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the best answer is all the new businesses, the downtown stuff. I mean, that the stadium wasn't here.
McLean, that's a recent development.
That's recent development. So this riverfront development that's coming.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So all that's fun.
Speaking of that, so I kind of know you kind of have that inside scoop of some new projects and new developments happening. Go ahead and tell me about some if you can.
Yeah. Well, there's just a couple. There's some cool stories that I like to think about. I'm really blessed because I enjoy what I do so much, and I've been on the other side where I didn't enjoy it so much. So I know how much, I know how cool that is to be able to say that I enjoy what I'm doing. So we can talk about a couple projects, and we can talk about just some cool real estate stories.
I love the stories.
I like to talk about.
Anything behind the scenes, behind the curtain of Waco, if you will.
Well, one of the stories I like to think about, just like a personal reflection. There's a building. It's actually two different buildings over there off of Franklin in 26th area. But I had a gentleman, a client of mine, who wanted to lease a little 2,000 square foot shop just for 3 months. It was just a seasonal thing, and that's kind of a small deal. And but I was going to help him because I like this guy, and so I took him over there. I lined up a showing. Again, there's not much money in this. It's not really. Anyway, I took him over there, and we expected to lease this thing. And he walked in this building that had been vacant for a long time. It's an old building. It was built, I think, in the 40s.
Wow.
It's an old building. It's not in great shape. Not much to it. You would probably drive up to this thing and think, why are we here? What are we doing here? But he walked into that and said, he looked at the ceiling and he looked at the walls, and I was thinking he would say, why are we here? And he said, I want to buy this thing, the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I looked at him like he was intoxicated or to see what was going on. And I said, this thing's not for sale. And he said, go get it for me. I said, yes, sir. And so I went to the other agent on the other side. I was like, hey, man, my guy wants to buy this thing. And he was like, well, it's not really for sale, but put in an offer and whatever. Anyway, so we ended up putting an offer. We negotiated the offer. We ended up buying it. This gentleman has put a little bit of money into it and made it his own in one of the buildings, and he loves it, and he's doing very well, and it's a great looking place now. And the other side, we've leased it out to Shepherd's Heart.
Oh yeah, the food pantry.
The food pantry.
I've had them come on the show.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. They're so sweet.
Did they say that? Is that public? I hope that.
I believe so, possibly. It was a while ago, so
I
you heard it here first, guys.
Another one. No, that's public. It's not a secret.
Yeah, because they had been doing it out of Franklin, right? They were just like showing up and having people come volunteer and donate. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, so they're going to start a home mobile division where they can just deliver.
Wow.
And so that's what they're going to be in that other building over there on this site. And so it's just one of the things we walked in there as kind of a favor on a goofy property that didn't look like much, and it's turned into this big kind of thing. So that's fun. It's a personal thing that makes me happy that I can be a part and contribute and serve not only the client but also the community, which is why I do this.
Yeah, and I know that the community has grown and developed so much here. Is there anyone in the community that you would like to shout out or you would like to talk about?
Oh, I've got personal clients, but then
give us their phone number, their social security number, the name of the firstborn.
No, another one that I think you might have heard of is Home Shack Furniture.
Yeah.
Have you been in their store? That's a great place. And the lady, Tara, who owns that company is great. And I helped her. She moved here from California, like a lot of other people.
Oh, yeah. Getting all the Californians.
And I helped her do her first lease. in a little building about 3,000 square feet. This is another cool story. This is, maybe no one will think this is cool, but I think this is cool.
No, it's so cool, especially the development in the community and how there's all these local businesses and these, I want to say, almost household names that people know and recognize, and you're tied to that and you're a piece of that.
Yeah, it's cool. But let me tell you this cool part, and maybe you'll like this. But anyway, so Tara moved here from California, and she wanted to start her new business. So I helped her with this lease on a little 3,000 square foot place, which is it's a decent sized place, but she wasn't from here, and it was a good little place for her to start. Well, then I helped her expand. Then she got another 1,000 square feet, and then another 1,000 behind that. And in this complex with, I think there's about 40,000 square feet.
Wow.
She ended up leasing like 6,000 total, but kind of all over the place. Like she had pallet jacks running up and down the street, and it was kind of crazy. And she looked at, I went and checked up on her, and she looked at me and she was like, that big building down there that's 16,000 square feet, I want that one. I'm like, Tara, you've got like 6,000 here. You want 16? She goes, yeah, go get it. I'm like, yes, ma'am. And so I went and got her where she is now, that big one on Franklin, and I put her in there, and we're actually working on expanding her store into an additional 10,000 square feet next door. So we're working on that. So that's kind of neat. I mean, a transplant from California just got her started, and now she's in one of the biggest spots on Franklin.
Wow.
And she's doing really good.
Wow. That's absolutely great.
Yeah,
and I love
fun.
hearing these success stories from these small businesses growing into what they are today. And again, with how much development we've been having over these past couple of years, it's absolutely amazing just to hear these stories and meet the people behind the stories.
It's fun. You said a future project. There's a little, I've got one over here in Robinson. It's right outside of Waco. There's a little building going up, and Marco's Pizza is going to go over there.
I love Marco's.
It's really good.
They have really good salads.
I've never had their salad. I've had their sausage.
Ooh, that's good.
That's a good choice. Yeah. So Marco's is going to go on one half, and then I'm trying to find a tenant for the other half. It's got a drive-through window, so it's probably a good food and bev use, restaurant use. And so that would be fun for your listeners. Let's keep an eye on that.
Anybody out there, restaurant that needs a space?
We may or may not be talking to a coffee concept to serve the Robinson area out there. And I hope we gain some traction on that.
Yeah, the Robinson area has even grown so much. I know, I mean, especially over there by like Tajun and like all of those ones over there, they have so much going on.
Yeah, so this one is under construction right now. It's across the street from Tajun.
Yeah, I thought there was some new construction over there.
That's me.
Oh, well, now I know.
There's a new project for you.
Yeah, that's super amazing. Have you been involved in anything else that you might want to share with us today?
Well, the chamber stuff was real fun. It's a great organization, and they've got their hands in everything as far as the business community goes. And so if you want to get plugged in, that's where I always send everybody.
Yeah. When you walk right in the chamber, you're going to make a left, and there's going to be a little room, and it has all of the brochures in it. Yeah. So if you ever need a brochure or you need a Waco merch, right in that room.
Yep, that's true.
It's perfect.
They can tell you where to go and what businesses are who's doing what, and great source of knowledge over there at the chamber. So before COVID, I was more active. I think they kind of shut down a little bit, but I think they're coming back. But that's a good organization to be a part of.
Oh, so I know you have some other stuff coming up. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, I do. Another very fun project that I'm just blessed and happy to be a part of is on New Road over there off of Valley Mills. You know, there's a Pep Boys and the Vegas. Everyone knows where the Vegas buffet is.
Yeah.
But right there on New Road is a new development apartment project, development project that we're working on. It was a commercial building that's been vacant for probably about 4 or 5 years. You would have loved this thing.
Wow.
It was a story. Have you been in town long?
Yeah. So I've lived here for about 12 years now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, you moved here in 08-ish?
Yeah, I guess it was. I think it was 09, the summer of.
Okay.
So.
Well, we got here right around the same time.
Except I was a child. I was an actual baby.
Excuse me. Okay. I got you.
I'm only 23. No, it's okay.
Well, then you probably don't remember. There's a 2-story commercial building there called the Gift Horse.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of it before.
You remember that?
I don't necessarily remember it,
but you've passed by it.
Yes.
If you've taken a ride at that light right there, That's the gift horse right there on the right. And it's been vacant for a while. Gift horse moved down the road, and I know the seller, and she wanted to sell that building. And so I walked through that thing a couple times and said, someone should convert this into apartments. And so I brought a buyer in there, and I said, hey, man, look at this. You need to turn this into apartments. He said, okay, let's do it.
It's a deal.
It's a deal. And so we went and got the property, deeded it over to him, and construction crews are in there to this day.
Wow.
Turning into 12 brand new fancy apartments. So that's a lot of fun. 2 stories, about 13,000 square feet, 12 different units, and it's all going to have like granite countertops and
beautiful.
cool paint schemes and laminate flooring, and it's going to be a nice place to live that's walkable and bikeable to all that stuff on Valley Mill. So we're really proud about that project. That's very exciting, and made it in a paper, because a lot of people, that building was built in the 60s. I want to say 62. So it's kind of a community staple. So it came out on the front page of the paper, and a lot of the people called just because they wanted to know what's going on in that building because it's been here for so long. And so it's kind of the architecture is a little bit different. I call it French Chateau. You just have to see it to know.
Very popular here.
It's called a mansard roof.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool, and people should just kind of drive by and kind of keep up with that. We're excited to be a part of that, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and I love that. I love hearing all these stories of these buildings that have been here for so long, getting a second life and actually getting used by the community again. So I feel like there's just been so much development and, again, so much change that things the way they used to be. I actually follow the Waco history. They always post about all like the old buildings and post like vintage photographs. And sometimes individuals will even post pictures of like their family at these places. So it's so fun to see places that were built in the 60s and the 40s. And especially even before the tornado, when that came through, it's just so cool to see how much it's grown and then see these places getting a second life.
Yep, you're right. And I enjoy it. Like I say, it's a blessing to be a part of it and want to do some more.
So now you can go ahead and shout out anyone.
Yeah, cool.
You can shout out your grandma. You can shout out your mom. You can shout out anybody else in the community that you want to highlight. The
best shout out first, and I'll get in trouble, but my wife, that's the honest answer,
cutest.
because she is my rock. And this is a tough business, and there's big things at stake, and I get to go home and vent, and of course not break any confidentiality, but I get to talk about my day, and she's always there for me, and so that's great. And I don't know where I'd be without her. So she's a great rock to have. So that's the first one. But then the people at Kelly Realtors. Kelly Realtors is the brokerage that I belong to, and they've been around for a long time, and they have a very good, powerful, professional name here in town, and that helps out. And there's some good people that manage that company. Leah Cox is the broker. Stuart Kelly is still around, and he's kind of a mentor for the commercial guys.
His mustache game is on point.
He does have a strong mustache game going on. That's true. And then, but Leah Cox is great. She supports us agents tremendously. And Mike Meadows he was one of the first commercial guys there, and he's still there. And I joined that brokerage probably for his mentorship, and he's been there 110%. And that's just a blessing to have someone like that who not only has the experience and the wisdom to share, but also is willing to. And he does both. He has it, and he's willing to help, and that's great, and I love it. So he and they, the managers at Kelly Realtors, deserve a lot of credit for a lot of the stuff that Kelly Realtors has their signs on.
Yeah, that's super amazing. And it's so glad to hear about all these community members coming together to better things and to help one another rather than just, again, trying to keep it all to themselves. And I'm so glad that you came on today and you were able to share a little bit insight and a little bit of wisdom, a little peek behind the curtain of Waco, if you will. Is there anything else you want to share with our guests today?
I would just say what you just said is very true, and most people don't really realize that. It does take a lot of different players to get these deals done. It's not just a buyer, and it's not just a seller. There's many parts of the community that are involved, and you're right. A lot of these people deserve credit because it takes everyone to kind of get on the same page to get these things done. There's title companies, there's bankers, the lenders I mean, most people need financing. The lenders are involved. There's City of Waco employees. There's the water department. There's all these.
And these are all your neighbors.
They all live around here. So you're right. There's a lot of people on each deal. Just about. There's a lot of people that are making it work.
All right, awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so glad you came.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning into this week's podcast. This is your host, Debbie, signing off. Now that you know, go. Just go, Waco.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.